I'm back with Simon. We've just done a podcast together talking about trumpet and the London music scene and his experiences. This is Simon Gardner, amazing trumpet player, one of the greatest lead trumpet players Britain has ever produced, and I'm very grateful to sit next to him. Now, we've done the podcast and it was awesome. We both really enjoyed talking about that stuff. But I was talking to Simon at a recent rehearsal with Ryan Quigley, and for Ryan Quigley's big band. And Simon asked me, I can't remember exactly what you asked me, but you asked me if I would be interested in hearing a story of Simon's, spiritual story, I believe.
Yeah.
And I said, absolutely. I've been on a journey myself, and I'm in about as open place as I've ever been, coming from a very closed place before. And I was very excited that Simon wanted to talk about his experience on camera. I have no idea what he's going to tell me. I have no idea what he's got to say, but he says that people need to hear it, and he wants to tell people something. So I want to hear it, and I'm here to listen to the story, and hopefully you guys will find some use in it too. So,
okay, well, because I know you've been on a journey, and it's a spiritual one, and you found Jesus, which is incredible and beautiful. I was brought up a Catholic, and kind of when you're brought up as a kid as a Catholic, it kind of gets rammed down your throat. And
I was also brought up Catholic.
Yeah, and my mum said to me when I was about 15 or so, she said, "Look, if you don't want to go to church anymore, you don't have to." So that was the last time I went to church. So, but of course, you these things are ingrained in your psyche, and I've always felt for myself as a Christian, but the story I have to tell is got nothing to do with, because I'm not a religious person. I have a belief, but I believe that there's all the different religions of the world have got their own name for God. I believe that if there is a God, which I'm not sure there is or not, it's the same one. They just call it different names. They have different ideas and blah blah blah. But so this story is more of a spiritual story. My wife got cancer in 2000. Well, she had it growing, for a number of years. But in 2019, she was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and we had to. And I'd already seen my dad die of cancer, so I knew what to expect. I knew what was going to happen. But we kept a positive slant on it. We made sure that we tried everything you can possibly do to fight the thing. But we lost. We lost the battle. And because I knew that what to expect at the final stages, it would have been very easy just to drink myself to death through the whole thing. But I decided to go completely on the wagon, clean, make sure that I've got every chance of getting through this next few months without having a nervous breakdown. So I decided to completely clean. Now, anyone who knows me knows that that's something I don't do that often. I like a drink. But I thought, no, I have to do this straight. This is a big thing. I'm going to see my wife die, Anyway, so we were. It was getting close to the end. It was like 4 or 5 weeks before she died, and she was asleep all the time. The morphine keeps you asleep, and waking up to have more morphine and go back to sleep. She wasn't eating. She was there was nothing left of her. So I was on the. It was a Sunday, and I was laying on the bed with her holding her hand, and her breathing started to get shallow. And I thought, this is it, it's going to happen. And I was willing it to happen, because when it gets to that stage, you don't want anyone to suffer. You want it to happen as soon as it can possibly happen, for everyone's sake, as much as theirs, for everyone who's alive, because we're the ones that have to pick up the pieces. So I'm laying on the bed holding her hand, and stone cold sober, absolutely, completely compos mentis, and I'm laying there, looking up at the ceiling, and there's these like things moving around, and I'm going like that with my eyes, thinking it's floaters, and then I focused in on it, and I could see shadows moving around on the ceiling. But they weren't shadows, they were like wisps of smoke, like just going like that around the ceiling. And I was watching them for about 2 hours. I was fascinated by these. It was always like watching a fish in the sea, you know, and they were on the ceiling, just moving around. Then all of a sudden this one went straight through my chest. And a few years ago I had pancreatitis, and I was in hospital, and I've never known pain like it. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, I was pleading with the nurse to give me something to get rid of the pain, and she gave me a shot of morphine. And I tell you what, this feeling that when this thing went through my chest was like having a shot of morphine. It was unbelievable. All my hair stood on end. And it was like almost, it was euphoric, and I felt so at peace. And there was a message, I had a message related to me, and the message was, everything is going to be okay. And I was just smiling, and all I can think is, I mean, people might think, oh, he's a bit of a crank, but the reason why I said I wasn't drinking is so that people can get the gist of the fact that I knew exactly what was happening, and it wasn't just something that happened in a quick succession. I was watching it for like 2 hours at least, these things moving around, and I can only think, because of course I can't be sure, but I've come to think that it must have been souls or spirits that have passed, and they were saying, come on Jackie, it's time to come now. And that's my story.
Wow.
And the thing is that the reason why I want people to hear that is because one of the big things in life is the fear of death. And if that can give anyone comfort in the fact that, certainly in my experience, I now know that there is something after death. We do go on to another plane, another level. We go to heaven, or whichever we want to call it. I tend to think that maybe there's a massive, big consciousness out there that we come from and then we go back into. As individuals, though, I believe that we will always be aware of our individuality, but as soon as we pass over, we'll go, I understand now.
Wow. Wow.
And so that's why I thought it's worth saying. It's worth people listening. If you're open to it, it might bring some kind of peace in your life, rather than spending your whole life worrying about dying. You know.
Thank you so much for that. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what you were going to say, but it's beautiful, and it certainly fills me with comfort knowing that you've gone through that, and I know you. Well,
to me, it's proof. To me, it's proof of the afterlife. And also, the other thing was that then about 2 weeks later, Jackie went into hospice. I'm seeing these all the time now. All the time, they're everywhere.
You still see them?
No.
All right, but at the time.
And when I went into the hospice, they were there, flying around the ceilings all the time. And as soon as she passed away, I haven't seen one since. So,
wow.
Maybe it was because I was so emotionally charged that I was able to hone in on this experience. I mean, they might be here now, but we're just not aware of it, But it was certainly a real thing. It was physical, especially when it went through me. It was unbelievable. And morphine's great as well.
Wow, that's amazing. And then, I guess you in some sense being given comfort during the last days, right?
Yeah.
And then when she went, kind of being given the...
You've got that, but you've also got the grief. The grief is so intense. It's such a powerful thing, grief. But thankfully, I've come through the other side now, and I've found someone who I'm very much in love with, and I've got a chance at a new life, And I know that Jackie would be looking down saying, "Get on with it," as I would say if I was the one who'd gone first,
That's amazing. And and we as a music community remember that time very well. And it was hard. It was hard for everybody.
It's hard for everyone, because if it's someone that because she was only very young. She was 60, which is a very young age, and for one of your colleagues and friends to lose their wife.
Yeah.
So everyone feels it, but it's hard for everybody. It's not just you that goes through it, you know.
It's very inspiring seeing you come out the other end of it, even if it was after a couple of years of grief and
Yeah.
what needed to happen. But it's I haven't experienced anything like that
Well,
yet.
Dave Bishop had the same thing when he was a lot younger. His wife died.
Hmm.
And he said to me, he said, it'd be 5 years, Si. It was 5 years. And I thought, no, it's not going to be 5 years. I'm not going to let 5 years of what I've got left go, you know.
Hmm.
So I went through it for 2.5 years. And then I came out the other side and thought, right, it's time to get on with it.
Wow.
Don't waste any more time, you know.
Good for you, Si. Thank you for sharing that.
Pleasure.
We appreciate it.
Amen.
Amen.